2020. This is the Service Hero Show, 365 Days of Awesome. Celebrate success through service. And we are having a few technical issues. So if any of my team is out there, I could really use your help right now to help me get my guest on. Let me see if she is here in the studio now. We've been working on this for the last bit of time, and no, I still do not see you. Kim, if you hear me right now, I am not seeing you still. And so I am reaching out to my team and I'm waiting to see who responds back to me to get you on today's show because we want to honor you. You have been nominated by one of the friends of the show and of Chemo Buddies for life. And we have our ambassador of the chat within the Chemo Buddies for Life program, Helene Wilson. I'm glad you're here with us. We will be, in a few moments, we will be honoring our service hero, Kim Cobler, who was actually nominated, and I want to be able to go into that in a short period of time. Let's see. Hello, Sherry. Sherry, if I was to give you a phone number, can you do me a favor? Possibly, can you check with Carol? Guys, this is live streaming media, and my team, I have an amazing team of people that are actually international, and they help us. So can you check with Carol and see if possibly she's available to help troubleshoot? Do you mind doing that for me? And if she is, then I'll get you a phone number so that we can get that. Oh, Carol, if I give you a phone number through Messenger, can you contact our service hero and see what we can do to get her on? Because we are having a problem. I am not seeing her. I know she's trying to get in, but I am not seeing her. So if you would be open to doing that, let me get that information for you right now. Let's see here. I've got it. And so much fun. I love it when the best thing is that we've got an amazing team. And let's see here, clipboard, and I am getting this together right this minute. Let's see, so that I can get her on and take care of things. Let's see here. So much fun. I love it. And, the idea of going live may seem like, why do it? It's because this is where I can actually communicate with all of my team all at once, and then we will end up with an amazing show. And they'll all tell you, every single time we've ever had this kind of an issue, there's a reason for it. We never know what it is until we know, because the person is always meant to, oh, that's right. You can't call international. Let me give you her name. Don't worry about that. Let me get it for you. And let's see here. Carol. Let's see. I may have to go off here in a moment if we don't get this taken care of. I know. Here we go. This. And it's been quite a day, quite a 24-hour period, and that's what, oh, wrong person. I love this because, you know what, bottom line is, don't give up. We don't give up around our nonprofit, around service heroes, all of it. We are a group of people that pull together, find a way to win. And we're going to find a way to win to get our service hero, Kim, on the show. And I do want to just recognize while we're working on it that Kat Keddington actually is the one that nominated Kim to be our service hero because of what she's been doing most recently during the COVID situation and her education, her area of study. It just is completely about being a service hero, and it's something that will be very interesting to our community within Chemo Buddies for Life and all of you out there that like and support the Service Hero Show. And as many of you may remember, that Kat is a co-founder of True Love Skincare, and we usually don't have any kind of a, if you will, pitch kind of a program here. However, there's a story to True Love Skincare, and we talked about it during the 36-hour give-a-thon that we did on Giving Tuesday for Chemo Buddies for Life. Chemo Buddies for Life, for those of you that may not know who we are, a nonprofit that believes in healing through connections within a buddies network. We are supporting those people that have heard 3 words no one wants to hear, too many have. You have cancer. And Kat was brought to us by Erin Houchin, who is one of our leaders. She knows Kat very well. And this is more than, if you will, like a skincare like product. It is actually much more than that. And that's why she came on, because it's something that people that are affected by cancer, people that have very sensitive skin, people like myself that have struggled with allergies and all sorts of issues, don't always have an opportunity to use some of the really cool stuff out there. This is something that's actually therapeutic. Okay, thank you so very much, Carol. I appreciate the help in regards to this. And in the meantime, what I'd like to do right now, it's Friday. And, you know, I haven't done this in a long time. I'd love to know. It's the beginning of what really should be summer holiday. Some schools are out by now, maybe a month. However, with everything that's happened because of the pandemic and because of COVID, there's been so many changes, shifts and twists and turns. We talked about this yesterday. And many of the kids, many of them have had very unique graduations. One of my friends yesterday had in their stream that their kindergartner, it was the cutest thing, was wearing a full-fledged graduation hat and robe and the whole deal. And oh my gosh, he was digging it. He was waving like he was in a parade, because they were in a car parade graduating from kindergarten. The cutest thing I've seen. I have other friends that have had their kids. Oh, we have success. We have success. I'm going to bring her up in just a moment, but I want to finish this thought. That other ones have had their kids, young adults, graduate. And I have heard from my friends that they thought it was cooler than what normally we have happening in our school systems. So if anybody wants to share, if they've been a part of any of these very interesting graduations and what you thought of it, I'd love to hear. Let's have a little interaction. And then I am bringing our service hero up, and I want to also tip my hat to Carol Brown, one of our leaders and one of our production people. I am just so grateful for the team that I have. And welcome, Kim.
Yeah.
I love it when it always tells me so much when someone doesn't give up, when things get a bit difficult. And you know, we had kind of like one of those experiences today that there was a change in the schedule. And so then I reached out to someone that I've been wanting to have back onto the show. And she's like, no, I've got someone that you need to have. She is absolutely a service hero, and I want to nominate her. And so thank you. You were gracious for that. And then all of this happens. I know that it is a meant to be situation, because whenever the energy, and we're going to be going into this because of your background, you are perfect to be talking about this. Whenever energy gets involved, sometimes things can go cattywampus. That's all I can say. And you are a service hero that Kat nominated you because, I mean, you've got a master's in bachelor's and a master's. You're going for your PhD. You are involved in the health and wellness and energy fields. You are working with traditional and yet looking at alternatives for health. And you're a speaker and so many things. And you've been giving a lot during this time. That was the thing. She said, you have been tirelessly, just continually giving to so many different people during this time because you've seen the need. I just want to say thank you for coming on and letting us get to know you.
Well,
so welcome.
Thank you. That's very kind. Very sweet of Kat.
Well, I just love her. Can I just tell you, I just love her. She's so down to earth and so real, and quite honestly, because this show and Chemo Buddies, we're one of those areas that, quote unquote, we're not like a pitch area, and so we're really careful about that. Yet when I met Kat, I realized, yeah, she has a product, but it's not about the sales of the product. It is about the health and well-being and what it's actually doing for people and making a difference in their actual general health and specific areas even. And that's pretty spectacular.
Yeah, I agree. The products are amazing, and just the caliber of people that both Kat and her sister Jen are in creating those products, and their love of people and caring are just amazing. And so I completely agree.
And so you actually have joined them along with everything else that you're doing, which, I'm going to just get this up here, a couple of images, and so people have an idea of what we're really talking about. Love your tribe. I love that one. It was like, okay, I was just having too much fun going and grabbing some images, but here we go with the actual logo. The True Love skincare, just, it's been a little time, and we were doing it for the give-a-thon, so maybe a lot of the people here on Service Heroes may not know really about it, but it was founded because of Kat's brother-in-law, right? He had some kind of an issue, and his wife, Kat's sister, just was like, okay, we got to take care of this. So she did a lot of research and realized that there were natural healing properties around where they live, and I think you live in the general area too, in the Utah area, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And that there's some natural things that she was able to kind of get together and put together, and actually saw a difference, and people started asking about it.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Her husband actually had plantar warts on the bottom of his feet, and they were so bad that he could hardly walk. I mean, he was really, really struggling, and they had tried everything. And she worked. She had some background in knowing, what natural products do and how they work, and so she created what she called a wart paste. I don't know that she called it that back then, but she used it and it actually cured his warts. And they had spent all kinds of money and gone to many doctors. So it was huge, and they started using it on other things, uh, and that just evolved into all of the amazing products that they have now. I use all the products and just really love them, and it was born out of love, and they're really amazing products for our skin, and really for providing nutrients through our skin to our bodies that make a difference. So
right, and that's the thing, that when I realized all of that there was, and when I visited with Kat too, originally, we were talking about the fact that these nutrients, I want to say, these nutrients, because our skin is our largest organ, and so the nutrients will actually, they're healthy, and they're good for people that are having any kind of immune issues, like those that are going through cancer, those that are in some way compromised in their situation, as well as everybody else. But I mean, when I first got to know her back last year, that was the thing that struck me, was that there can be actual not, you can't really say healing, but that it can actually nourish our skin, and thus other areas. I know plantar warts, I used to have them as a kid. They're no fun. And oh my goodness, I used to get them in my heel, and those things can hurt. And to have something that is more of on a natural level, that's what got my attention. So you're working with them, but the thing about you that I also find very interesting, and I really want to go into this, you do that tapping thing, huh?
I do. It's called EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique. And we tap on our bodies. It's kind of a similar to acupressure, or using acupressure points to help us.
How long have you been doing that?
Oh gosh. So personally, I've been using EFT for many years, probably 10 or more, maybe 15. And I started getting more interested in it. The more benefits and the more value I got from it, the more ways I saw how I can apply it to so many areas of my life. I started using it for other things and wanted to become, help other people with it, I think. And so for the last 3 years, I've been doing what we call clinical EFT, which is you can find EFT and tapping all over on the internet, because it is so valuable, and you can use it for a lot of general applications. But just in the last few years, I've started using clinical EFT to really help people with a lot of childhood trauma, and a lot of stress and anxiety and all kinds of other things. So
that's huge. That in itself is huge. And when I was reading your bio and everything, and Kat sent it over, I'm like, absolutely, I'm thrilled. And I want to cover a couple of things. I brought this up. These are some of our buddies, and one of them is saying that Helene, one of my buddies and ambassador of the chat, she is saying that she's allergic to lotions. And then Sherry, one of our senior ambassadors that is in treatment, she's saying dry skin can be an issue while on chemo. And these are areas that yes, we have to be very careful about. And I want to have that addressed before we go back into the clinical tapping or EFT.
That,
EFT is that these products are products that, like, I too, like you, Helene, am allergic to just about everything. But I've heard, through NLP and all that, you can, your brain can help you through that. However, with that said, my skin tells me something different. And so, I've always had to be very, very careful to look at what's in things. And, I'm a good test person. They don't need anybody else. If they just want to test it on me, I'm like, okay, itch, um, and so, but when I spoke with Kat, she was actually talking about those issues about dryness and about allergic reactions, right?
yeah. Yeah, a lot of products, even natural products, can have alcohol in them, which dries out your skin. And so that's an issue. There's also a lot of the products on the market that have sulfur and parabens in them that cause a lot of allergies and issues. And so that's why the things in the True Love skincare product line are completely natural. They have things like olive oil, olive leaf. I know olive oil. I was just listening to a podcast by Dr. Gundry on, what are the top 3 things we can do for our health right now. And his number one was olive oil.
Oh,
Find any way
really?
you can. Yeah, find any way
Internal,
you can.
external, or both?
Both, both.
Really? Okay.
And so anyway, so they have olive oil, olive leaf, beeswax. They have bentonite clay, which has the over 65 trace minerals in it, which are so essential right now and important for our bodies. They have MSM for inflammation. Trying to think what are the other main, but those are and then they use essential oils, but those are the primary. And sometimes people can have some allergies to essential oils, so that can be a challenge, but I would just highly recommend to try them out. I don't know if you've tried them out. I would love it, since you say you're a good a good person to test things on. It would be great if you could test them. I've had an awful lot of people say, I can't use lotions, and they've tried them and are able to use them and really love them. So, and the moisturizing benefits of them are just amazing. So,
Well, I have seen evidence of that, and yes, I need to do that. and
yes,
and and so I'll put that on my to-do list,
yes.
because you know
All you
what
have to do is send me your address, and I'll send you
okay.
something to try.
Well, thank you. Golly, that's a double dose of service hero today. And thank you. But and I appreciate that. The big thing here is that I really got this from Kat. I haven't met her sister, but from Kat herself, that because we were working on even remote things, and at the very last minute we had to do some shifting and turning, and they, Kat got involved with doing, she was on in, I think, the middle of the night. She was offering this, she was doing that. They were getting some prize packages together, but then we didn't have our license in time to do this raffle. But they were like totally there helping to get things together to fundraise for Chemo Buddies for Life. That is when you want to team with people, when they are doing it out of service to others, not what they're going to get out of it. It is truly the love and service of others. And that's when I really
Yeah.
started getting it, even when she would talk about the different products and the motivation behind them, because it always seemed like there was someone it was serving, her brother-in-law. I mean, that's why I remember the story, because it
Yeah.
really meant something. You don't
Yeah.
always remember a story about something like that, because it's like, okay, yeah, someone needed it because of whatever. It was because someone's in pain, and the wife's like, okay, we're done with the pain. We're going to fix this.
Yeah.
And you got to respect that. Then on top of it, when with you, the tapping, I really want to go into that because when I was reading your story, I didn't put this on. You sent me over a link to, and thank you for doing that, so that I could read your full story. And when I did, I immediately, I, I, I felt your heart. I felt your heart. I felt just you were real. You were real and raw, and where you're at, you know. And do you mind if I share a little of what's on the page there?
No,
You know,
not at all.
because a lot of people, especially fans of this particular show, I will say, are people that I want to stay up on this. And thank you, Stephen. You're becoming one of the hosts of the of the Service Heroes too. I love it. I love it. We have such an amazing leadership team. And Susan Brown, good to see you here. When you because of what you were talking about with the clinical tapping, that when people go through trauma of some type, emotional, heartfelt, heartbreaking, there, it doesn't just take place in one area. It can be a full system issue. And many of us, and I include myself, that because I am, yes, a survivor of cancer, many of us that have been through some kind of a traumatic, emotional thing that didn't deal with it well, it can sometimes show up in something like disease. And so then to become aware of that and say, okay, no more, we're done, we're kicking that power to the curb, we're going to learn healthy habits, we're going to learn to overcome and adjust and navigate things like our skin. Yeah, I mean, I know that when I am going through some stress, it shows up even on my skin, right? And in our bodies. So clinical tapping and overcoming trauma, that's got to be huge. And you, on your story, were sharing that you are out there helping others because you were married for a good period of time, have a beautiful family. I have to say, oh my gosh, just beautiful family. I loved some of these pictures, so I picked some of my favorites, to be honest with you. and I mean, guys, I don't know who your photographer was, but oh my gosh, that is amazing right there. It's like, okay. And how exciting. You're in Utah. You are facing divorce. You're an educated woman. You live, I'm assuming, and I don't want to be assuming, but I know where some of the others live. So I'm thinking you're in that general area. So you're in an area that when I was looking at some of the pictures, I think that this is your area, is just absolutely gorgeous. And yet the I don't want to say culture, but the environment sometimes can make it a difficult situation to be navigating such a change in your life. And you're turning it into, how can I serve myself, was what I was reading. How can I serve myself and serve others and do it in a way where it's healthy for all? That's commendable.
Thank you.
That is. That is.
Thank
How
you so
are
much.
you doing?
I'm doing good. I I started on this journey, as you said. And you showed my pictures of my awesome family. But, part of my healing and working on myself is to, stop unhealthy patterns, and help my children and my grandchildren to find healthier, better ways. And so that's definitely one of the things I'm very passionate about. I was fortunate enough in, yeah, that's my newest little grandson, but I was
That's
fortunate.
adorable.
I was fortunate enough to be in a place when all of the coronavirus hit to be able to donate my time. I'm very, very concerned about so many populations with, being quarantined, just having to be at home. You and stay at home like that, it can introduce a lot of trauma triggers and things. And so it's just really, really important to me. I think we're going to see kind of some waves. Right now we're all focused on the physical issues of COVID and coronavirus, and next we're going to be focusing on the economic impact. And both of those are going to end up in having us have to focus on our mental health and the impact on our mental health. We're hearing so many stories of increases in drinking and addictions, and it's so incredibly hard on people. And so I would just feel very lucky and fortunate that I was in a place where I could donate my time to do free sessions with people and help people, because I think my focus is on prevention, and I want to help people when they're still at a place where they're healthy, and we can instill good, healthy tools to prevent people from getting to the place where they're struggling with an addiction or a mental health issue. So, and I
And
think all emotional issues typically will surface with some kind of physical issue. In addition, that's what so many of our immune disorders are stemming from, is trauma in our youth and our childhood and in growing up and even later in life. So anything we can do for our mental health is going to help us with our physical health too.
exactly. And that when I was reading all of this, it made so much sense, your path and your choice. I am curious about the speaking, because you've become a certified speaker. You're the kind of woman, and I love this about what I was reading, because you don't just decide to do something, you decide to do it, get educated, get the like that. I got the piece of paper, I got the education, I've got the diploma, I've got the certificate. You go all the way. and you got to respect that, because you're talking from a place of personal experience in some of it, and then you're going out there and saying, okay, we got this, and we're gonna take care of things. And that, you are such a role model, truthfully, a role model for so many, for myself. I mean, quite honestly, I needed this today. Many of us do, because we need those reminders that, that we got this. We've got this. And
Yeah.
if we don't have the education, or maybe there's something missing, there is a course, there is a person, there is some kind of help, there is a clinical tapping specialist that's there. All you have to do is ask. All you have to do is research it. It can be that simple.
It's so true. We have so many things available to us, and I think that is a key message, is just to feel empowered, rather than coming from a place of all these things are out of our control, to really thinking about what do we have control over, and what kind of options do we have. You talk about my education. I love to learn. I've always loved to learn. And so school and education is really easy for me. In fact, sometimes I've been doing a lot of research lately on addictions because of the things going on, but just also for myself. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't have addictions like that. But I feel like I do have I'm addicted to sugar and I'm really working hard to adjust that and take care of it so I can apply, the things I'm learning for my personal life to others. And there's all kinds of addictions. And so where I was going with that is learning is probably an addiction for me. And having a full plate is probably a way for me to not have to deal with some of my more challenging or harder issues that I've certainly had in life. So while I think thankfully those are good positive things,
Right.
there's you
Right.
still have to find balance.
Right. Right. And many people come from families, generations of some type of addiction. And
Yeah.
in my family, the joke is that we are addicted to being A+ personalities. And I certainly got that one. Anybody that knows me will say, absolutely. She says she's recovering, but no way close is she. She's nowhere close to it. Yet, that is where there are those, you have to sometimes, not sometimes, like in my own family, we always took that attitude. Okay, you guys just look at it straight for what it is, and then we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out, but we're not going to sugarcoat it. We're going to figure it out and come up with solutions. And when you've got issues and we've dealt with a lot of different ones, then like addictions, then what you do, in the very beginning when we got teams together, because we always felt like, okay, you got to have a team, you have to have your toolbox, you have to have the right tools for that situation, right? And so then you pull the tool out and it's like, okay, we're dealing with this particular issue, it's addiction right now, we're in the throe of it, so what can we do to switch, to take care of it today? And in one of the situations it was, okay, what we can do is modify behavior and put that energy into something. If you're going to be addicted to exercise, be addicted to water, be addicted to something healthy, right? Learning
Right.
something, right? And then you can overcome the issue when you get to the core, right? And heal. Because oftentimes there's something triggering that, right?
Yeah.
Is that where you're going to with the tapping?
Yeah.
I'm curious.
Yes. So probably 80% of our triggers and beliefs about ourselves come from those, from some kind of childhood or something that happened in our youth. So those triggers, tapping is it works in a way, we equate it to like having a sliver. Sometimes when we get a sliver, we are equipped enough, or it's, not, it doesn't get deep enough in the skin that it can work its way out without anything happening. Sometimes they fester and get infected and turn into an issue. And a lot of people will ask us, why do we focus on the negative? Because our society is so programmed to focus on think positive and don't think about those bad things that happen to you. But if we don't process those traumas and things that have happened to us effectively, then they end up festering or they end up showing up later in life. And so what we do in EFT is we work on getting those slivers out, or, another common analogy is cleaning out the wound so that it can actually scab over and heal healthily. So when we tap on those traumas and help to get those, get rid of those and eliminate those traumas, or find a way to integrate them is probably a better word than get rid of. Integrate them so that we don't get triggered in the future. And then the other core thing that we work on is core beliefs, because core beliefs is another thing. When we have those traumas, when you're 3 years old and somebody's swinging you and playing and having fun, and you're being traumatized because you are afraid for your life because you don't know what's going on, and you're only 3 and you don't know how to, interpret that. Sometimes it can be as simple as that. We call those little traumas, little T's. And then, of course, there's the big, terrible T's. But, somebody can establish a core belief of it's not safe for me to fly, and out of something as simple as that. And so we can work on those phobias and help address some of those core beliefs and some of those, many, many things we can do with EFT. So it is an amazing tool. It's
okay,
not
I'm fascinated. Okay. In fact, let's see, Skip said, I produced a documentary on tapping for healing after the mass genocide in wow. And yeah, and then Stephen is saying, he's saying we should connect healthy routines make for healthy lives, and he's all about healing through nature. Okay, so okay, how do you know where to tap? That's my first, I'm thinking, like, okay, total disclosure, I have fibromyalgia. Okay, so, and I won another one of those neat little prizes for having a tremendous amount of spots, my rheumatologist used to say. And so, like, you have all these different pains, right? Now, is that the kind of stuff that would be like, oh, that's not really arthritis of the muscles or whatever they think it is. That's really something else. Or, I'm just trying to process this right now.
Yeah. So when I work with a client, I really view myself as a facilitator. Our bodies are so amazing, and our bodies know what we need to work on at the moment. And we also know within ourselves how much healing we can do. Oftentimes, people, we have to be very careful if somebody has gone through a lot of trauma. We really have to trust and honor the individual and the person, and heal what they're ready to heal, or work on what they're ready to work on. So when we do a tapping session, we start out with what the presenting issue is, and we do some tapping to reduce the cortisol levels. And often when we reduce those cortisol levels, because that's what tapping helps us with, our body, our things will come to mind that that we need to work on, or potentially maybe it's a connection. We also work really closely with how it feels in the body, and really help us work on tuning into our bodies and understanding how things make us feel. And as we're tapping on that, we can ask questions like, when have you felt this before? Or when was the first time that you felt this? And people, if they just trust their intuition and speak about what comes to mind first, we can often hit that core childhood belief, or that initial childhood theme that introduced or caused them to start, that started them on a whole lifelong journey of issues. The other thing about a core belief is, when a core belief gets established, our minds are such that we say, okay, this happened, and we decided, this core belief, like it's not safe to fly. We'll just use that as a quick example. And then what happens is it's like we open up a file in our minds and in our bodies, and we say, okay, it's not safe to fly. And then we start building evidence over years of time saying, yep, this happened, and so it's not safe. And we put another piece of paper in that file folder, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And so what we love in tapping is when we actually are able to hit on that very first time. We call that gold, when we're able to hit on that very first time when that belief was established. Because if we can tap on that, it can knock out so many of those other events that were building evidence to
Right.
support what, that belief that they established. So that's kind of the premise, I guess, of why we do tapping. And we really do trust. We're just facilitators. We trust the individual and their body to tell us where we need to go. And oftentimes it doesn't make sense. I always encourage my clients, don't try to connect the dots, because remember, you made a decision when you were 3. So, or a 7 or 8, and you didn't have the perspective that you have now. So it might have not have made sense to that little 7-year-old, but in their world, it made perfect sense why they, decided this particular event meant this theme for them. So we never try to connect dots. We just trust the body and the events that come to mind and what come up, and we can gradually work on helping clients to eliminate or reduce those core beliefs and replace them with more positive, healthy things.
Wow. Now I just want to, because I know that some of the people that watch the show may not know what cortisol is. And so that, if you want to just explain that, and so that so they're following along.
Yeah, so cortisol is the hormone that is released in our bodies when we're in a stressful situation. So it is, when we talk about fight or flight, if you've ever heard of that, where when something serious happens to us and our bodies automatically go into fight or flight mode, it's releasing high doses of many things, but cortisol is one of them. So cortisol is a stress hormone, and when your body has introduced or is producing cortisol over long periods of time, it can cause significant physical issues and problems. And so tapping, even just to actually do the tapping and tap on the points, helps your body reduce cortisol. So even if you don't hit on the right, childhood event, it's a very forgiving process, because even if you're not hitting on all those, core things that you would work with a clinician or somebody that does clinical EFT, just by tapping on the points, you're reducing the stress hormone in your body and helping your body to relax and, not causing it to be in that fight or flight mode. That was probably more explanation.
That's sounding so great to me. Okay, so let's just, let's right now, because I'm sure there's a lot of people that, some are actually saying, that they do tapping. Helene does. I love it, when she's feeling uncomfortable, and that's, I'm impressed. And so, like, those that right now, with everything, because you've been helping so many people and you've hit the nail on the head. There are so many, and as this time continues, there's more and more that are starting to get into that place. They're getting a little worried. They're, whatever it may be, don't want to put it out there, but whatever it may be for them, they are experiencing something.
Mm-hmm.
If they are experiencing something and they're having that uncomfortable feeling, and they don't have Kim around the corner to say, Kim, can you come over and help me out here?
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, okay, I'm willing to try this. Is there something that we can do for ourselves that we won't hurt ourselves and we might actually help ourselves?
Oh, absolutely. You can, there are many videos. The videos I recommend are out on EFTuniverse.com.
Okay.
Because they, those are, I know, because some work better than others, I guess is what I would say. There's no wrong way, but I think there are some that are probably a little more credible or work better. But anyway, so that's why I'd go to EFTuniverse.com. But
Okay.
If you learn the points, you can tap on yourself all the time. And I think that's what I love so much about it, is when I'm coaching clients, when we're done, at the end of our session, we can say, gosh, we worked on these 10 things or this 1 or 2 really hard things today, but you can work on some of the other things you brought up or that you happen to mention throughout the week until we meet again, and they can do it all by themselves. So it's incredibly powerful that way. And there was I just saw a brief chat of somebody coming up that said when they were tapping, it made them feel really uncomfortable and they don't like to tap. And so there are other things that you can do besides tapping. But one thing I would say for that person is the first thing, if I had a client that was trying to heal something significant, that it might just be their body not ready to work on that particular thing. But you can also just tap on, tapping makes me feel really uncomfortable and I don't like tapping, and go through a couple of, basic EFT points, just saying, I don't like tapping. It makes me feel uncomfortable, and probably address that or take care of that so that you can use tapping as a tool to help you. So that would be my first suggestion. Or even, I think this tapping stuff is crazy. We tap on that all the time. I don't trust that tapping's going to do any good for this particular issue. I just can't believe that it could work that well. I oftentimes start out a session with a person, and we start with that and then go from there.
How fascinating. Okay, so let's just say something like that's going on and you're tapping, and then is there like a magic time or something that like all of a sudden it's like, okay, yeah, it's all better now? I mean, what is it that, do you explain what they're looking for and so they know when it happens?
Yeah, it depends. So what we always do is we have them, whatever we're working on, we will ask them to give us a score. We call it a SUD score. And it escapes me what SUDS means at the moment, but you may have heard that before. But we basically just say, on a score of 1 to 10, how upset does this particular thing make you, or how do you feel? And we ask them to rate it, because oftentimes when we're doing tapping, they'll start to feel better and they don't even recognize it. And so if we get that score ahead of time, then we can keep tuning into them and say, okay, now when you talk about that particular issue, how are you feeling? And, we can measure, and if it starts to go down, we know why. If it's not going down, then we have to look at, okay, are there some other things that we're missing about this particular issue that we need to think about? So we start with that score, but we call it a cognitive shift. And oftentimes I can see it, or I am a bit empathic. And so sometimes I can even feel it, where I feel it, I get a sense of, oh gosh, they just had a shift, because I can feel kind of the pressure release. So, I don't know how to explain that, but
I mean, I'm like thinking, okay, yeah. It's like you're all of a sudden, all right, yeah, I'm cramping here or there, blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, yes, I'm all for that release. Because, I mean, when you think about it, I'm thinking, because this is all really new to me. I'm thinking when someone does massage or something like that, that's still that movement. And I know it's different because this is actually releasing the emotion, and I'm hearing what this is all about, the shift, and that makes total sense. Yet when it comes to the body, I'm thinking, oh yeah, just that touch sometimes can make a huge difference. Like, okay, oh, you got that right spot, it's like, okay, yeah. Is that right spot that, when you got that right spot, is that right spot possibly the spot that needs to then be tapped?
It could be. So there are specific points that we tap when we do the tapping. So, and I can show you where those are if you want me to, really fast. But there's one right here on the eyebrow, and then one on the side of the eye. Sorry, I've got my glasses off, so I can't tell if you guys can see me. Okay. So under the eye, under the nose, the chin, and the collarbone area, so right around, right at that kind of soft spot. And then there's one on the kind of where, if you're a woman, where your bra strap would go, just right under your arm, and then the
Okay.
top of the head. So those are the main tapping points. There are other tapping points that often a clinical EFT person will use if something's not shifting, or we're not getting that cognitive shift like we want to, or their scores aren't going down. But those are just the basic points, are the ones I just showed you, and that's what we use.
So what I'm hearing is we kind of come, and then I'm going to give you a few moments in just a minute to address everybody. I'm going to drop myself down from the line, and so that you can kind of give like like a nice little bow, or a nugget, or whatever it is that you're feeling needs to be heard right now. But what I'm hearing right now from you is that if all of a sudden some of the events that are taking place right now, if all of a sudden you start feeling that anxious feeling, or something, you're feeling uncomfortable somehow, that if we go to this university and we're looking at the videos, and then we do some of the self tapping, we may be able to release some of that yucky. I'm not feeling good right now because of these events. I can feel a little bit more comfortable, or maybe not even realize that you're feeling a little bit more comfortable. You're just not feeling that anxiousness any longer, possibly, and that, I would think right now, and I can't even say thank you enough for all of this explanation, because I have learned so much, and I'm sure others have too. Is that, you know, number one, maybe stay away from some of the news or some of the things that, if you can, but
Mm-hmm.
it's seeping into our homes, it's seeping into our lives right now. And then we can say, okay, we're going to kick it back to the curb, and we can do it with different techniques, and being aware that this is one that actually, it sounds like there's science, and there's actual, you've seen proof, and Skip did a documentary on how it helped, and this is something that is good to be in that toolbox, right?
Absolutely. And I did it on myself for years, and I think that I attribute a lot to just using EFT on myself to clear some of my issues and help some of my traumas, where it helped me to get to a stronger place where I could make some even harder decisions, like you said, of being separated from my husband and going through a divorce, and many, many, many other things. But
Yeah, and
yeah.
with, and thank you for being real, because this is not an easy time for a lot of people, and the stresses that some are experiencing, it's compounding, and some others, they're getting closer, which is great. You want to see that. And
Yeah.
I'm going to drop myself down, and if you want to just spend a moment and share, and then I'll come back and we'll close out. Okay?
Okay, let me know how much a moment is, or you can just interrupt me when my moment's over. The things I would say are, first of all, like I said, I feel so strongly right now that people just need tools, and tools they can use on their own. Out on EFT Universe, they do have a site where if somebody is actually maybe even going through a panic attack, you can. I love it. I consider it kind of the EFT where we go when we have a broken arm or something physical happen. We go to the emergency room. They actually have a site where you can go and get a practitioner practically any time of the day, because they have them all over the world. And so even if it's the middle of the night, that's daytime somewhere else, and somebody is probably online, and you can say, "Hey, I need some tapping right now." So there's that, but you can do it yourself too, and that's why it's so powerful. I guess the other thing I would say is that we need to be thinking about our kids and helping our kids process the emotions, and help them with their stress and anxiety. I created a blog post for children, and it actually has a PDF of a coloring book that teaches kids about their emotions, and even just coloring actually helps them get those negative emotions out and talk about their feelings and their emotions. So, going to my website, I'm always trying to create, and I'm working more and more on creating some content out there that can help people. And then, of course, I still have my free EFT session out there. You can go to my Facebook page or to my website and schedule a free session and see if it's something that helps you. And I can teach you how to do it for yourself so that you can do it on your own. And then, like I said, we can see if there's, if it works for you to, or if you're working on something big, if we need to schedule more time. So there's always that free session out there for anyone who needs it. See, is there anything else? I just felt like I've mentioned before, I just think this is going to be a time where all of us need to figure out ways to equip ourselves with tools that can help us through traumas and hard times, and to reduce those triggers so that we're not turning to things that aren't healthy. And I'm really passionate about that.
Well, thank you for being passionate, because right now, and it's Friday, and and not every area of the world right now. And we have one of our service heroes, and I noticed that he's from. I think he's from. Where are you from? I think he's from Asia, Africa. You'll have to let us know. But I'm grateful that we have an international audience, and like you mentioned, and we have people that will be watching this at night, for our daytime, that in the middle of the night. And yet there's those that here in the United States, in the middle of the night, many of us are up for whatever reason, and we need to be getting that sleep. And so in that ER, I was thinking that's really great to know too, because oftentimes those kind of stressors can create the insomnia. The insomnia can, all the different things that can happen. And the fact that you've got the coloring book too, because our kids, I've got insomnia, we've struggled with that in my own family. And to have those type of tools in our toolbox, that you are creating, content that you're creating, and then educating us that, yeah, if you're having that problem in the middle of the night, there's options. There's ways of being able to help so that you can get that restful sleep, that you can overcome it. And just what you shared right now, also the beauty of why you're here, and your soul, and who it is that you are truly a service hero. And I am so thrilled that you were nominated. So as we close today's show on June the 12th, 2020, the Service Hero Show, 365 Days of Awesome, celebrate success through service. Kim, you are a service hero. We have determined that you are.
Thank you so much.
You are serving, and you have served us. You have educated us. You've taught me. I mean, I'm thrilled to be. I'm going to be learning about this, because you know what, and you'll probably see my name on your little, appointment schedule someday, for my free session, and others I'm sure that are going to want to learn more about this, because the things that we can take control of our own bodies to help us, to help our bodies to then help us. I mean, it's a circle, and we have to be proactive so that we are making healthy choices, and we don't turn to things that are going to then be what really should, that are not good for us. And for us to be able to say, okay, not going to go there. I'm going to go to the healthy place and get into those kind of habits. Those are the things we can serve ourselves. We can serve our next generations. We can serve our, our buddies, our community, the world. And you are doing that today by coming on. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm honored to be here and really appreciate being able to share. So.
And everyone that is one of our community, one of the buddies, and we should have you in the community sometime. I'm gonna invite you in sometime into our closed group. We tonight have TGIF Friday, and if you remember what we're doing now, we are inviting some of the buddies to come on for different things and introduce themselves and get to know them. Tonight, we actually have a couple buddies coming on with, I'll be the host of the chat tonight. So come on into the closed group, and if you haven't joined our closed group, and I'll send you a link to join. I'd love to have you join us. It is at 5 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock Eastern tonight in the closed group. That's here on Facebook, Chemo Buddies for Life in the community. It is a closed group, and all we ask is that what takes place there stays there. It's not on the public side like this is. It is behind safe doors. All right. See you there. Thank you so much, Kim.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
Bye.